welcome to the first of 2 Women in Cybersecurity episodes. My name is Sydney Studi, and I'm here with Casey Rennicker today.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Thanks for being here. So we are doing a collaboration episode. We actually generally broadcast on the Safe Room, but we are doing a collaboration with AWS On Air for this episode. This is a 2-episode series. This is the first part. Today it's Casey and I speaking, and tomorrow it will be Gilly Lev and Mamita Saha sharing their stories. So we will be talking about how we got into cybersecurity, what we currently do, and if we have any tips for our other women in cybersecurity or interested in getting into it. So without anything else, Casey, why don't you tell us a little bit about your story? What do you do now?
So currently, I'm actually a security consultant with the Global Services CERT team, which is the Customer Incident Response team. We focus on threat detection and incident response, and we assist in part of what I do as being a part of the CERT, aside from helping our customers, is I actually am helping build some training for our new responders as we bring more people onto the team.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So I actually have a really interesting story on how I got to how I got to this position. I actually joined the Marine Corps right out of high school. And in the Marine Corps, I started out as an IT specialist, and I did that throughout my first enlistment. And I had a really stern master sergeant that told me I needed to decide that day if I was going to re-enlist or not, because there was no more essentially positions that they were re-enlisting. And in that, I had some great staff sergeants that motivated me to laterally move into cybersecurity, which was a field I was already interested in, but I didn't know much about it. And they really kind of took me under their wing.
Nice.
When I was getting ready to get out of the Marine Corps, I had already moved up to Quantico, which is not far from where we are currently. And I was a forensic analyst and malware analysis for a little while. And I really got into that threat detection, incident response side of the cybersecurity realm. When I was getting out of the Marine Corps, I went to our separations class, and I am so happy I went when I did, because there was this woman named Lauren that came to talk about the HOH program, or Hiring Our Heroes, and I doubted I was going to be accepted into it. I was like, you know what? If all else fails, the worst they can do is tell me no. That's the worst thing that could happen. The best thing is I could get a great opportunity, and I can start getting out of the Marine Corps with a good job in line and know where I'm going, know where I might end up in a couple of years. I got into the program somehow, still don't know how. And I was able to get hosted at AWS, which in my meeting with the HOH program, they actually asked me, when I was talking to them, I was like, yeah, you know, do you guys know if AWS is going to be participating? Because this was my dream. AWS was my dream. And luckily enough, I got to meet our awesome, I got to meet Hart Rossman, and I ended up getting offered to come and be a fellow with AWS with
Nice.
the, at the time, the Global Security Infrastructure team. And I ended up getting a full-time position at the end of that 3-month fellowship, and I've been here ever since. But it's changed, it's shifted. My team has become a new team. We've constantly changing around and going forward. So some of the tips I have for women or people in general that are trying to get into cybersecurity, into especially threat detection, well, let's say cybersecurity in general, know what portions, like what certifications actually matter to your dream. Like AWS, obviously, AWS certifications are number one. That's what we want to do. Or that's what we kind of look for. It's like a leg up. But I mean, CISSP, Sec Plus, those are always good. If you're interested in other companies, you know, make sure you know what they're getting, what they want. And then, you know, a degree always helps. It's not the end of the world. I actually got mine as I was finishing, after I had already been at AWS for like a year. But
Yeah, so how did that go? So you were at AWS when so you got hired at AWS, and then you finished your degree while working at AWS?
Yeah, I was only about halfway through to my degree when I started the fellowship, and then from there, I got hired, and no longer was it a huge weight on my shoulder that I need to have my degree to be able to be successful in the field. You just got to get your hands into the field. Once you're into the field, you're network. That's the biggest thing, is try to network as much as you can, because you never know who's going to help you get that foot in the door. But speaking of degrees, how is yours going?
Yes, so I'm so glad you asked. So I love this story that you just told about your degree, and I think it's so encouraging for young people, especially like me, who are wanting to get into the field but not sure how, not sure where to start. Or maybe you feel like you don't have a degree yet, so you have to wait until you get that degree before you look good on a resume. So I want to share my story and what I do now, how I got here. Funny story. For 6 years, I was in retail management at Starbucks. So everything from admin, so making schedules, slinging coffee. I really enjoyed my time with Starbucks. And so this sounds like it was out of a TV show, but I promise it's not. This is a true story. I was wiping tables one day, and I saw one of my now coworkers just coding and working in the terminal, and I asked about it, and we had a great conversation. And okay, let's put this on a timeline. So this is about 2020. This is right before COVID hits, maybe late 2019. So I didn't see that person again for over a year, and our conversation stuck with me. In the meantime, I went and learned a little bit of Java in my spare time and found a knack for it. And I ended up changing my major to software engineering. So I'm only halfway through right now, actually. So I'm working at AWS in software development, and I'm still working on my degree. I'm a full-time Navy wife. I'm a mom to a beautiful 8-month-old baby girl, and I'm doing my degree online through Arizona State University. So I actually got into AWS by the Hiring Our Heroes program that Casey mentioned.
So I briefly touched on it. Do you mind explaining what Hiring Our Heroes is, or the HOH program?
Yeah, of course. So the Hiring Our Heroes Fellowship is it's a corporate fellowship program for transitioning service members, for military spouses, or for military caregivers. And essentially, what happens is you apply to the HOH, and you're matched with a host company if you move through HOH. And you start a 6 to 8 week internship. Fellowship is what they call it. And it's just like on-the-job training. So for mine, I started with the AWS CERT team, the Customer Incident Response team. So the same team that Casey's on, we work together. And I just started learning software development, so infrastructure as code. I learned Python because previously I only knew Java. And I met the team, I learned what they do, and I just made the most of my time asking people who had been doing this for far longer than I have questions. And I was able to interview afterwards, and I was eventually offered a position. So I'm pretty young in my tenure here at AWS at about 7 months. So it's very recent memory for me.
So what I like to say is that the HOH program essentially gives a company a 2 to 3 month interview with a new candidate. It's a great program, and I highly suggest any transitioning service members or spouses, please look into it, because it will help.
Yeah, and when I started here, I knew exactly what to expect, and I knew, it was nice to. My first day with AWS wasn't actually my first day, so that was comforting. But yeah, so today that brings me to what I'm doing now. I'm a service engineering consultant for the Customer Incident Response team, CERT. What our team does is we assist and advise on if there's an active security event. So my role is to orchestrate and maintain systems that CERT uses for that. And I also work on open source projects that assess and improve security posture of AWS environments. So lots of fun. I really enjoy what I'm doing today. But I really want to touch on a few tips that I have as someone who just came into the field recently. Again, my background's in retail management, so I did a total industry change. My first thing is, if you're interested in something, don't wait to learn about it. So I mean, like, so I got my certs, get your certs early. So I did the AWS Cloud Practitioner first, and then I did the Associate Developer, and that really helped give me a foundational understanding of what AWS is, how the services work, how they interact. And then if you're interested in something, learn about it, even if you don't think it applies to your job description now. For example, I learned Java first on my own before I had any twinkle of AWS in my eye, and I ended up using that knowledge to learn Python quickly because they can be similar in a lot of ways. And now I'm focusing on deep diving into some networking concepts, even though that's not a deep dive into that isn't something that I use every single day. That's something that interests me, so I'm going for it now. And I think just a broad understanding of different topics in the cybersecurity or tech field can be so beneficial to you. And then my second tip is don't sell yourself short. Like, just don't sell yourself short. And effort. I mean, effort will get you anywhere you want to be, because if you consistently show up day after day and do something, you are going to gain an advantage. For a cert I'm working on now, so like I mentioned, I'm a Navy wife, so my spouse is out and about, deployments. I mean, you know military life. And I'm a mother to a beautiful 8-month-old baby girl. I don't have a whole lot of time to go for certifications, so I do 10 pages a day. 10 pages a day for a month is 300 pages. That's math, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so, and in 2 months you've done 600 pages, you've done a textbook, maybe you take a month to review, and then you take your exam. It doesn't have to take a long time. Just bite-sized chunks, chip away at your goals. And again, I'm still working on my degree, so just one thing at a time, small steps. And then don't sell yourself short. Everyone in tech was new at one point, and if anything, over these 7 months plus an internship, I've learned that if you have an attitude of wanting to learn, a respectful attitude, you're interested, you are asking questions, you're respectful of other people's time, they will be so willing to teach you. People enjoy sharing what they're passionate about, what they're knowledgeable about, and they enjoy mentoring people who are passionate and knowledgeable about the same things. So all that to say, those skills, the leadership skills, focus on those. Even if you feel like you don't know where you're going to start in tech, find somewhere you can be a leader in your community. For me, it was Starbucks. I started as a barista and became a supervisor and learned leadership. Find somewhere you can be a leader. Nonprofits around, food banks, communities, those skills go with you everywhere, and leadership skills take so much longer to learn, and they're hard to teach. But technical skills, you can take certifications, you can learn those. So all that to say, don't sell yourself short, and do things you're interested in, because you can do it. Casey, do you have any closing thoughts?
I do, actually. So part of when you're in the field, once you get into the field, don't stop there. I truly didn't know how much cybersecurity really covered. The realm is so large. There's different little niches that you can get into and become a part of. So just once you're in the field, move around, find what you really like, because you're gonna learn about other positions, and then on top of that, so like you said, you're a mom. I also have a little 10-month-old at home. I'm also a wife, and I mean, I happen to fall into an excellent team, and I think you can agree. Our team is almost overly understanding of the fact that most of our team is new parents, and that our families are very important to us, and that taking care of our families kind of becomes number one, and then our career is right next to that. You got to find that team that works well with your work-life balance, and go forward from there. And it may not be the first team, but if you keep moving, you'll find it.
Keep trying, keep looking, because there's so much out there. And AWS, maybe I'm biased, but AWS is a great company to work for, with opportunities internally that if you start somewhere and decide you would like to try something else, you can do that. Yeah, I want to thank our audience for joining us today. Casey, thank you for coming and sharing your story, and thank you to AWS On Air for letting us be here, this this collaboration. We're usually on the Safe Room episodes with a couple other people from our team. Kyle Dickinson for one, and Jason Hurst are often on there. Check us out. We talk about various security-related topics. And that wraps up today's episode. Please tune in tomorrow. We will be back for episode 2 from 1:30 to 2:15 Eastern Time, and that will feature Gilly Lev and Momita Saha. It's going to be a great episode. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.